stage, the stable. Oh, yeah. All right, take this one around the track.
Is that yours? Really? Is that yours, Brandon?
Okay, cool.
All right.
Really bad pun on it.
I did.
Does Brandon need to hit record?
Brandon, hit record. Hit record.
Awesome.
Got it, baby.
Tell Brandon to hit record.
Very good, Josh.
E at the end.
Oh, record.
There you go.
Okay.
Got to get my pen out.
They gave us cue cards. I want to make sure I used them.
Say
We
again.
know.
What?
Are you worried about us being family friendly? Have you listened to us? That's a no. Yeah.
You thought we talked about horses for years.
I know, yeah.
Hi, guys. Welcome to the Stable Podcast. How's everybody doing today at PopCon Indy?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
People excited
Here we
to
go.
be here. That's what I like to hear. All right, cool. Well, we are the Stable Podcast. If you have not gotten a chance to ever listen to us or hang out with us, we are a pro wrestling discussion style podcast. We love to talk about the passion that is professional wrestling. The deed within the squared circle. I've never understood why they call it a squared circle. Probably because they call it a ring, and yet it has
That's
four.
it.
it
Because
has four
amateur
even sides.
wrestling
That's it.
uses a circle, but because theirs is a square, it's a squared circle.
Look at that.
Right,
We're learning
right.
things every day. All right. So before
Carnies.
Carnies, yeah. Before we get into our discussion, I'm going to go ahead and open up our invitations. We're going to start down on my left-hand side. We got a couple of new friends with it. Well, one new friend, one returning friend, and then the rest of us. So we'll start down there at the end, and we'll work our way down to my right.
My name is Isaac McKern.
There we go.
I'm a gamer, professional wrestling fan, former professional wrestler. But yeah, happy to be here.
All right.
I'm Brian Daniels, and I'm also a huge pro wrestling fan. And I cover pro wrestling from time to time, cover shows and things like that. Content creator on YouTube for The Domain, and we also have a podcast that's going to be here on Sunday at noon called The Next Level.
There we go. There we go.
This is Josh, and I'm a part of this podcast and the Established Facts.
And I, of course, am your host, Big Don, and that's really all you need to know about me. All right, so we are on episode 24, guys. Episode 24. Ooh. So we are working our way up into the upper echelon of numbers, even.
Nice. Nice.
So at PopCon Louisville, we got a chance, which I thought it was a great discussion. But at PopCon Louisville, we had a chance to discuss our favorite stables, which, if you don't know what a stable is, it is a group of 3 or more wrestlers with a shared ideal or direction, typically. Yep. Sometimes it can be a tag team with a manager. Sometimes it's 3 active wrestlers. It can be intergendered. It doesn't really matter. There's not a whole lot of rules outside of just having more than 2 people, because if it's just 2, it's just a tag team. And that can probably be an argued point. But if it's just 2, it's just a tag team. Yeah. That being said, before we get into our discussion about our favorite gimmick wrestlers throughout the era of wrestling that we have been present for, which I figured we could just start back in the 80s and work our way, because I feel like those were kind of where a lot of really juicy and meaty gimmicks started. And then we can go into the the 2020s. But before we do that, I do want to bring up some new, or at least some I guess it's new news, if you will. It is current news. But I think we all pretty much had a heartbreaking message come across the interwebs.
Yeah.
Let's see, today is what, the 25th?
Yeah, so it would have been.
No,
yesterday.
today's the 28th.
Yeah,
Today's
25th.
25th.
25th. 28th is Monday, sorry.
Yeah.
25th.
Yeah.
So on the 24th of August, we got the unfortunate news that Bray Wyatt, Wyndham Rotunda is his real name, but Bray Wyatt, or The Fiend, as a lot of people knew him, had he unfortunately passed away. And I believe from what we've seen, it was from cardiac issues due to previously having COVID and recovering from COVID, and his body was just really tired. And we're not really 100% sure of the details, but
Sean Ross Sapp reported that earlier this year he had COVID, which exacerbated some heart issues he was dealing
heart
with.
issue, yeah.
So much so that it put him in the hospital. However, he was progressing positively until yesterday, where he suddenly had a heart attack.
Right. And so, I know we probably don't have a huge reach at the stable, but I definitely want to reach out, and just let anyone who is a fan of Bray Wyatt or the Rotunda family let them know that the Stable podcast and all the guys up here and everyone we're associated with and established with, we definitely we pour our hearts out to you that oh,
thanks for coming to this.
Hang on, sorry.
We did want to let you know that free autograph stage is going to be open for the next hour and a half.
If you want a free autograph when you hear this podcast,
so much.
It'll be open for the next hour. But if you don't hear this podcast until after PopCon, you'll have to wait till next year.
There you go.
Just some words of advice. Anyhow, but we just wanted to express our love for Wyndham Rotunda.
Yeah.
And Terry Funk just recently passed away as well. I think
he did
a day or two before.
The day before, yeah.
So just a couple of, a guy who had spent 50 plus years in wrestling was, hardcore king, if you will. And then a guy who was only 36 years old was, arguably probably in the prime of his career with a lot of his creativity and a lot of his storytelling and just what he was able to do. And so we, the stable, we just, we wish the best for Wyndham's family, for Terry Funk's family, and that, we're thinking about you. You're in our thoughts. You're in our prayers, and we understand the pain of loss, and that's a big loss because we feel it, and we're just fans of wrestling. We have a passion for wrestling, and so I can only imagine that for those who are the closest to him, this is a really rough time. So
Absolutely,
we're thinking of you, but we I felt remiss that if I didn't share that, I was probably going to feel bad about it later. That being said, we want to talk about some of our favorite gimmick wrestlers. All right, we're going to start in the 80s era. All right, and just to I don't think I normally start with the subject. I'm usually kind of a reactive, but I want to kind of get everybody's creative juices flowing. So what we're going for here with gimmick wrestlers, right? These are not just your normal tight-wearing athletes inside the squared circle. These are people who have this almost otherworldly kind of character. Now, I will say, you can choose the same person multiple times because people's characters change throughout their career. The example I gave when Josh and I were talking earlier today is if you were to choose Chris Jericho as a gimmick wrestler, you could choose Chris Jericho as, list Chris Jericho. You could choose Millennium Chris Jericho.
I'm a Lionheart fan myself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, a gimmick is really kind of the wrestler's character, but it almost goes further than just a character. It's really kind of what is motivating them at that time. So, with that being said, I would like to go ahead and start off in the 80s.
Nice.
As an 80s baby. I would say my favorite gimmick wrestler of the 1980s era, and he did, go into the 90s and so forth, but Rowdy Roddy Piper is probably one of my favorite gimmick wrestlers. That man, I don't remember who I was talking to yesterday. I think it might have been our buddy Piercy, and he was talking about how Rowdy Roddy Piper and Pee Wee Herman did a special together.
Yes, they did.
And Roddy Piper was Roddy Piper, and Pee Wee Herman was Pee Wee Herman, and it was the funniest thing in the world. And so I would say, watching him bash coconuts over people's heads in Piper's Pit, and and then obviously if you're an '80s fan, seeing him in. What's it? Is it called They're Alive?
They live.
They live.
They live.
They live.
That.
Yes.
Oh my
it's
gosh!
A great
the
flick.
most ridiculous stuff in the world. So,
I wish I had some of those shades, by the way.
What's that?
I wish I had some of those shades, by the way.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, those shades are great.
I'm sure it would reveal a lot of secrets, though. So, okay. So, who wants to go next?
I can. Mine might be stereotypical for the '80s, but I don't care. I was a Hulk Hogan fan. Everything about Hulk Hogan, especially when I was little, because my first memory of a rented pay-per-view that we rented was WrestleMania 3 with Hogan and Andre, and then I had to go back and see WrestleManias 1 and 2, which of course had Hogan in both main events of that as well. And I eventually... This would ultimately end up into the 90s for WrestleMania 6 with Ultimate Warrior. That was the first one my grandmother bought for us when they had the giant satellite dish in the back. So there's a lot of nostalgia to that as well. But, saying your prayers, eating your vitamins, whatever, like all of that, that was... I was just into it. I was the quintessential fan when it came to that. Hogan worked for me. And as great... of other performers I have now seen over the years and looking back in histories, your Ric Flairs, your Roddy Pipers, I mean, even Terry Funk, I still always went back to real American Hulk Hogan. Whatever your opinions are of the man, of the gimmick, Hulk Hogan worked.
All right. Brian?
I would have to say for me, I also kind of got to go with an iconic 80s gimmick. I'd have to go with Macho Man Randy Savage.
Macho Man.
I mean, how can you not, right? Dude, him and Miss Elizabeth was just, she was one of the most iconic managers back then too. His matches, he had that match with Ricky Steamboat, right? That was an incredible match.
Was that an Intercontinental?
I think that was an Intercontinental title match.
That's
yeah, man.
Great match.
That was WrestleMania, yeah?
Yeah.
WrestleMania 3.
And his persona really evolved over the years, and he gave some of the best promos ever. Really. I mean, really did. And who doesn't love Slim Jims, right? I mean, come on.
Right.
You know what I mean? I know we're talking 80s right now, but the guy really, through the decades, you could even say the same about the 90s, too. He was such a, such a treasure for wrestling back then to watch his character and his, with Hulk Hogan, they had the mega powers, right? So that was fun, too, but yeah.
And he's in the MCU.
Yeah, he was
he's Bonesaw, baby.
Yeah, man.
Bonesaw
the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie, yeah.
Yeah. All right, Isaac, what are you thinking?
So I'm thinking two different people, but I'm going to go with this first one.
That's okay.
Nope.
Two different people. That's fine.
I'm worried he's breaking the rule here, and he may actually be early 90s, but I'm thinking Mr. Perfect.
Mr. Perfect.
I don't remember when his vignettes started to roll, but man, his vignettes.
Good old Kurt Hennig.
I think the perfect WWF vignettes was 90s.
Yeah.
But Kurt Hennig,
is 80s.
was absolutely an 80s
Right.
wrestler. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, he personified the gimmick of Mr. Perfect so well. Who else could throw a football, the complete football field, and run down there and catch it himself?
Yeah.
Just shooting those over the back basketball shots,
I love
hitting
that.
from anywhere. Man was a pro at golf. He played pool against himself and was the man. He was absolutely perfect.
He was somebody you wanted to be.
Oh, yeah.
He did everything
He
perfectly.
could catch his own sweat towel.
Oh, yeah.
And
knock his gum out the air.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Still to this day, I do that every time I have to spit the gum out of my mouth.
Hit somebody in the crowd.
I used to do that when I was a kid, though, too.
Every time.
Yeah.
Every
That's good.
time. That's the only way to dispose of gum.
I love his finisher, too. The Perfect Plex.
Plex?
My
Oh,
goodness, man.
yeah.
That was such a good finisher. And, I mean, just to be able to pull off a move like that,
on almost anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, there's video of him doing it on the Giant.
Right.
On Big Show.
Yeah,
Do
that's
it.
crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Did you have another one, Isaac?
Yeah, to the contrast to your Hulk Hogan, let's talk about Sergeant Slaughter.
Sergeant Slaughter. There you
it's
go.
popcorn.
That's it.
He
I
crossed
love
over.
Sergeant Slaughter.
go.
That's,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
he transcended wrestling and
Yeah.
cartoons,
Yeah.
man.
Who else was in the G.I. Joe?
Yeah, right?
Yeah, well, he was also an
Good.
Iraqi sympathizer.
Oh my gosh.
Got nothing on that.
Oh my gosh.
That was such a great feud, though.
I mean, it was for being a nonsense to make Sergeant Slaughter an Iraqi sympathizer.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they turned him heel, I was like, what are they doing? Like, what? That's
Couldn't they just
wild.
fight over who the better American is? Like,
Right. Right.
I'm a real American. Well, I'm a veteran.
I'm a.
Right, yeah.
Feud over.
Okay, sorry, you win. My bad.
Here's the title.
All right. I feel like this one is going to be probably the most productive, in my opinion.
Oh, okay.
So this is the 90s era
Oh, okay.
for gimmick wrestlers.
Okay.
All right?
Here we go.
90s. So, Isaac, do you have yours already for
Oh, yeah.
90s? Okay,
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to start with you then on this one. All
Papa
right? And then
Shango.
we'll work Papa Shango.
Oh, let's go.
All right.
The voodoo
I like it.
doctor.
Such a mysterious.
Yo,
character.
when I saw him make green blood come out of Ultimate Warrior's head,
Oh, yeah.
terrified me as a child. Absolutely terrified me. That
I
messed me
remember
up,
being
man.
scared of that.
That's a good one.
That's good.
That's
Papa
a good one.
Shango. That's a good
And I
one.
love the trigger he pulled. I was like, oh, that's this Pop Shango. Like,
Yeah.
confidence, man.
Brian, what about you?
I have a couple.
Okay.
How can we not talk about the gobbledygooker?
Oh my
Because
gosh.
he doesn't.
Yes,
deserve to
I'm
be
going to
talked
be
about.
that guy and bring that up.
The gobble.
If you forgot, now you remembered. Thank you. You're welcome, by the way. No, but in all honesty, what's up, man? We got to talk about Dwayne Johnson, man. You know, 90s.
Oh, yeah.
90s
You know,
Rock. Which Dwayne Johnson?
Well,
Chipper?
The blue
Flex
chipper
Cavana.
or Rock?
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you not like Flex Cavana if you
Yeah.
don't know? He actually has a pop figure, by the way. Can you believe that?
Does
That's
he really?
insane. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, my wife didn't know who that was. I was like, let me educate you real quick.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, dude, The Rock, man. I mean, how do you not talk about him?
Yeah.
He mid '90s to the Attitude Era, and then even beyond. What that man did for pro wrestling, God, I just can't say enough about the guy. Really, I mean, the feuds he had with Triple H, Stone Cold Steve Austin, just to
Yeah,
name a
dude.
few. His, the incredible tag team that came out of the Rock and Sock connection with him and
Oh my
Mankind.
gosh,
Oh, yeah.
yes.
What an amazing! And then he
Yeah.
was just a master at the promo, man. Like
Yeah.
one of the most charismatic superstars that we've probably seen. Outside of like currently, I would say like MJF and things like that. But
Right.
like, man, just
And
he
we
was so
can't-
over.
We can't forget his WrestleMania 40 main event against Roman Reigns when he wins the title.
No. When he beats Roman, sure. Not winning
mean-
the title.
To prove who is really the tribal chief.
No, Roman's just
Who
going to be
really
him
is
too,
the tribal chief?
and then he'll
Right.
continue his championship reign.
Yeah, yeah.
The Rocky story must be completed. Cody Rhodes must win this championship.
You know, I'll say this too about The Rock, man. You know, we had Hulk Hogan, and he was a big movie star, and we didn't really have another big time movie star like that. And then The
Yeah.
Rock became that next guy, right? So
Yeah.
he went into Hollywood. He made a few pretty really great movies out there, and
Love the Tooth Fairy.
The Tooth Fairy, a phenomenal flick.
Hey,
No.
oh my goodness.
But no, mine would have to be definitely The Rock, man, for sure.
All right, The Rock.
I got to admit something. I was ready to argue that being 90s, and it
Oh, no.
took me a minute to realize that I'm old. 'Cause
Yeah,
that
yeah. Congratulations, you're old, by the way.
100% Was late
Yeah.
90s,
Yeah.
Nation of Domination,
early
all that.
2000s, and my
Well-
life as a wrestling fan may just be over.
Yeah, yeah,
That hurts.
yeah. Because
man.
you and I have had this discussion too. That the first WrestleMania that I convinced my parents to buy for me was the main event of The Rock versus Stone Cold for the World Heavyweight title.
So
The
16.
first one
16?
in Houston, Texas. Yeah.
I think so. Mm-hmm. I don't remember where it was. I remember where I was. And in my opinion, I don't know if it's because it's one of the greatest matches in the world or because it was the first WrestleMania I ever watched, but it was one of the greatest matches in my life. I can tell you that. I loved that match.
I would agree. That is
match.
probably by far and away one of the best WrestleMania
I'd say
matches
top
I've ever
20.
seen.
I say
that's
top
a-
20.
Well, there's a conversation in there all on its own because
Yeah.
I thought their 19 clash when it was Austin's last one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I just love the fact that I had watched Power Plant and stuff like that on Saturday morning, and I kind of every once in a while gotten a chance to catch some of it, but that was like my first real experience with a pay-per-view. And then I realized you didn't have to watch them; you could just listen to the color commentary, and you knew everything that was going on. So then I would just
That's what
watch it with the whiteout on.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I used to do too. Yeah, I did
Yeah.
that too.
I
Yeah.
watched a lot of scrambled pay-per-views.
I watched a lot of scrambled pay-per-views.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then, but I had never seen somebody do like a false finish, and the fact that they both did each other's finishers in that match, I was like, this is the coolest thing
It
ever.
was yeah.
Yeah.
To
So
be that young and see that was just huge.
oh, so good.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
All right, Joshy, who do you got for your 90s?
this is definitely a throw out to my wife as well, which I think we're going to tack on to the back end of this episode. Her comments on gimmicks and on Bray Wyatt, but it's the Undertaker.
Taker?
Yeah, man.
And
Yeah.
I have kind of a secondary one because I was a WCW fan and I still think the Undertaker was a better
Don't
gimmick.
you take mine, Joshua.
I'm not going to.
Don't you take mine.
I'm not, I promise. Because another one that stood out to me early in his career was John Tenta's The Earthquake.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Which
Okay.
Earthquake
Yeah.
and the Shark, same character, just two different organizations. Whereas, what was he? Not Goldar, but
Golga.
what was it?
Golga.
Golga. That's
Yeah.
right.
Oh yeah.
In the
Yeah.
oddities.
The Oddities.
That was terrible.
Oddity.
But it was still like I loved the Undertaker, and the Undertaker, 3 decades worth of a gimmick. There, I don't know until Bray Wyatt. I don't think we had seen a character or gimmick last as long or do as well.
Right.
And it just,
Yeah.
there's nothing like him. But what I loved about Earthquake was he was a big dude, and I was always on the bigger side, but he was nimble, and he was able to move around the ring. And when he got moving at full speed before he hit that Earthquake splash, man, I was just always a huge fan. So, no, I'm not going to take yours, Donald, because yours is a good choice, too.
Yeah. Okay, so you're saying Taker for your 90s.
Take yours for my 90s.
Okay. My 90s, Crow Sting.
Ooh.
Crow Sting, my favorite gimmick wrestler in the 90s. One of my favorite
Yeah.
wrestlers, period,
Yeah.
as a fan of wrestling.
Yeah.
The Crow Sting, which I just found out in watching an interview that Scott Hall did, that the Crow idea for Sting was Scott Hall's idea. Like, Scott Hall was the kind of guy who he didn't necessarily tell you what you should or shouldn't be doing, but every once in a while he'd get like these ideas in his head for like how somebody's doing a move or how somebody's doing their
That's cool.
gimmick or something like that.
Yeah.
And he said he sat down one day and he was like, "Have you ever seen that movie The Crow?" And Sting had never really seen that movie, and he basically explains it to him, and then, by God, if he didn't take that idea and just run with it,
Yeah.
and has for the last 30 years. So,
Who else
Yeah.
could sit in the rafters for an entire year and do nothing,
yeah,
keep people captivated?
and never say anything.
Right.
He
Yeah.
never said, and even when he had finally
That's
come
very
down
true,
from
yeah.
the rafters, like, he didn't say anything.
He didn't need to.
He was just this.
You were just in
vigilante.
awe. With
Yeah,
what he-
man.
With his performance.
Which is why I like, and I know it didn't end as well as he would have liked. But when Sting came back and finally joined WWE and did the whole vigilante gimmick, like I was like, are we going to get a little bit more of that Crow, like the original Crow back? The showing up under the curtain thing where was supposed to be the statue.
Yeah.
And showing up just to put out Triple H when he first debuted. Like,
Yeah.
there were a lot of those owed back to that Crow Sting gimmick where just out of nowhere, Sting is here to exact vengeance. Like, I was such a fan. Good choice.
Yeah. All right.
Wait, before we move on, can I do 2 honorable mentions?
Yes.
Glacier and Mortis. As a huge
Yeah.
fighting game fan
Oh
in the
my
90s,
gosh.
seeing 2 dudes that looked like they came right out
yeah.
of Mortal Kombat was amazing to
Yeah.
me.
Glacier, WCW's attempt to take advantage of Mortal Kombat.
Yes.
I think another one for me would be Tatanka too.
Tatanka.
Tatanka was
yeah,
pretty
man.
great.
He was good.
Yeah,
He was good. He came back in a Rumble like
a few years ago.
a few years ago.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. There's, again, like I said, I felt like there was a ton of really good gimmicks. I mean,
I like Nails too. Remember Nails?
wasn't the Brood
Remember Nails? Yeah.
wasn't the Brood or like a late 90s?
Yeah. Yeah, they
Like
were in
Gangrel
Attitude Era,
and-
like
yeah,
97,
like-
98.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I could have swore they were early fine.
Dude, the
I
Brood was 1998, bud.
Okay. That's what I thought. Again,
Old
great.
Josh. Old.
Great.
You're old, man.
Right. So speaking of old, let's keep progressing through these eras of wrestling. So
Yeah.
2000s era wrestling. So we
wow.
are
You're
There's
going to
so
tell
many
me that the
good
2000s
ones.
there is the John Cena era too, aren't you?
me?
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
No? Okay.
I mean, he was definitely prevalent during the 2000s
I
era.
know.
But I'm going to start with Brian on this one.
Oh man. Okay, let's go.
Do you have it?
I have a couple.
Okay. So give me your 2000s era gimmick wrestlers.
Oh man, can we count Kurt Angle as a gimmick? Olympic gold medalist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's okay.
I'd have to say Kurt Angle for sure.
Specifically the gold medalist angle.
The Olympic gold medalist
Olympic,
era.
the one
Kurt.
who won a
Three
gold medal
eyes.
with a broken
Freaking neck.
Yeah.
I know they all did, but I just mentioned that because later in the
Oh, yeah.
2000s when ECW came back and you got an entirely
Right.
different Kurt Angle.
Yes.
Just wanted to make sure.
Well, and you got a different Kurt Angle with TNA.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Yes,
yeah.
we did.
Yeah, Kurt was man, that dude was something special, man. He when he came in, he just God, the watching him wrestle was amazing. Unless you were watching him wrestle Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, that was a horrible match. But that guy had some serious talent, and one of the best technical submission wrestlers I've seen
Yeah.
in that era, hands down. I mean, I don't think he's really put on a bad match. Honestly, that's his fault. Outside of that, man, just Kurt. I have to go with Kurt on that one.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Did you have more than just that one?
I had another one, but he's not a gimmick.
Okay.
I would say Triple H.
I mean,
Not necessarily a gimmick. I mean, unless you want to talk about him being the
Game.
authority, the game.
the game, the King of Kings, the whole like leather jacket,
Yeah.
biker, Motorhead.
That guy.
Okay.
Big Triple H fan.
Yeah, I am too. I am
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Joshy, what do you got for your 2000s?
John Cena, no.
Not John Cena. I love
He
like
didn't exist in the 2000s, and if he did, you couldn't see him.
That's very true.
I respect the heck out of John Cena. I really do, but he was not my favorite gimmick. God bless America. It's tough because during the
You could just say Undertaker.
I could. I'm not going
Biker
to.
Taker, yeah, there you go.
Undertaker.
Oh God, not Biker Taker either. The returning Taker. Anyways, I have to probably say and I think the timing I think I'm right on the timing of this is actually the returning Shawn Michaels.
yes.
The
Brown
elimination
tights, Shawn
chamber,
Michaels.
back from broken.
The brown
pants.
tights.
Yeah.
Brown tights.
Brown tights, short hair.
And I say
Yeah.
that being the WCW fan that lost and admits that we lost the Monday Night Wars.
Oh, yeah.
And wanted desperately for TNA at the time to be a true competition. Shawn Michaels coming back and winning that unsanctioned match against Triple H and the Elimination Chamber win to win the World Championship. And he was just an entirely different Shawn Michaels who was there to be the best. and show exactly why he was Mr. WrestleMania. There was so you wanted him to win because, like when Edge returned in the 2010s, or when we saw Bryan Danielson return with AEW, or near the end of his run at WWE. Like, you wanted to see that person succeed.
Absolutely.
And I loved that about the 2000s. I really did.
Yeah.
All right. So that was Brian and Josh. Isaac, do you have yours? For
The
2000s?
super heavyweight Crash Holly.
Crash Holly. That is such a good choice.
Best
Such a
hardcore
small
champion
man.
ever.
Absolutely. A complete underdog that thought he was better and bigger than everybody.
He really
and
did, though.
everything to prove it.
He totally did, man.
Fantastic.
The fact that he won his 24/7 title back in an airport,
right? That was some of the most entertaining stuff.
just so
That
good.
really was, though, yeah.
I think it's interesting when they do gimmicks like that. And I don't mean Crash Holly as the gimmick, but I mean like the title itself. Like, everyone loved the hardcore title with the 24/7 rule.
Yep.
Where no matter where you were, if you got pinned, you lost the title. But then I don't understand the idea of bringing the 24/7 title into things to try and, like, revamp some of that. Like, it didn't make a whole lot of sense to me why they would make that sort of a creative choice, but do you have some insight?
No.
Okay, cool.
Not at all.
All right.
None of us do. That's
Yeah,
why
that's right.
it's gone.
So, right, exactly.
No.
So I had to choose. I had to think really hard. I legitimately had to think really hard about my 2000s gimmicks,
Yeah.
because so many of the gimmicks bleed from the 90s into the 2000s.
Right.
Yeah.
But I would have to say my 90s gimmick choice, Vince McMahon's son, Hornswoggle.
Oh, my God.
That dude was so entertaining. At
He really was, though.
At every Royal Rumble,
He was
him
pretty funny.
hiding on. As a matter of fact, was it the Ladies Rumble a few years ago where he
came
was
out.
still hiding under the ring?
Yes.
And then Melina
so.
was no,
Yeah,
no, it was
Yeah. Let's say, yeah.
gosh, who was it? Selena Vega. Selena Vega crawled under the ring, and then all of a sudden, it was revealed that Hornswoggle was under there, and then she freaked out and ran away. Yeah, love that. That's such a good
Spending
gimmick.
years under that.
Yeah, it's such a gimmick.
I think he's still under the ring to this
The
day.
anonymous
Yeah.
Raw general manager.
The anonymous-
Oh, I'm sorry.
yeah.
Fit Finley's son.
Fit Finley's son. Yeah, exactly. So good. It was so, and obviously, like, for no other reason than just the sheer ridiculous entertainment of it. Like,
If you
I
want to
just
see
love
something
it.
entertaining, I think it was just a few years ago, Swoggle.
Yes.
He did a bit with Impact where AJ Styles' music hit. Like, AJ was still clearly in WWE, and everyone was like, wait, wait a minute, did they let AJ come to Impact? And no, it was Swoggle who came out on the ramp dressed as AJ
Oh,
Styles.
my God. Yes, I remember this.
It's one of the funniest things
Yeah,
I've ever
that
seen.
was
he even
yeah,
came
that
out
was
and
pretty
did the
funny.
whole, like,
Yeah,
glove
he did-
entrance
he
and
did the-
everything.
he did the
Intro.
glove
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff.
I got an honorable mention again.
Who you got, Isaac?
As a Papa Shango fan, the
Oh.
Boogeyman
Oh.
God,
felt like just a linear
Yeah,
line
yeah, yeah.
for me. I mean, that guy, he wasn't the greatest in the ring, but he entertained the crap out
Yeah.
of him.
You know who I just thought of for 90s when you said Papa Shango again? The Godfather.
I was going to say the same thing, yeah.
I totally
The
forgot
Godfather.
about it. I loved
Yeah.
him. I loved his
He
gimmick.
had a lot of gimmicks.
He did.
He's a man of many gimmicks,
Yeah.
yeah.
Man of many gimmicks.
Yeah.
That's it. All right. Okay. We've gotten through the 2000s. Now we're in the 2010s.
Let's go.
Decade by decade.
Here we go.
2010s. Joshy, I'm going to start with you.
Good grief. Okay.
2010s.
I think I'm going to say the birth of the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes.
Oh, okay.
Hey, let's go.
You know, so many people
Okay.
are now
Yeah.
used to seeing him now that he went through the AEW stint, and then now he's on WWE as those characters. But that character started on the independents and really
Yeah.
came up through that. And He's a very different American Nightmare than he was on the Independents, but as a heel, man, he was. You couldn't help but be excited about All Elite Wrestling because you got the American Nightmare. Of course, who ended up being the face that didn't want to turn heel or the heel that refused to turn heel. That's why he became now the biggest baby face in WWE.
Yep.
But the American Nightmare was just, it was good heel work. It was so good. It was so good.
Absolutely.
All right. I'm going to have to say my choice for the 2010s is Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah. And just the idea of the Bayou family man, if you will, like strange cult leader, like given Undertaker ministry vibes, like, and
For sure.
and just like understanding everything about his character and what he was out there to do.
Yeah.
And how as soon as you would hear the music and the lights go down, you just look in the crowd and everyone's got their light on.
Oh, I love
It's
that
just
so
these
much.
Fireflies.
All the fireflies in the crowd.
Oh my gosh. And then he just walks down to that like bluesy bayou music with two guys behind him with sheep masks on. Like, I feel like if you would have explained the
That was
gimmick
wild.
just
Yeah.
okay, so what we want you to do is we want you to walk down the ramp. You're going to be holding a camping lantern, and then there's going to be two big guys behind you with sheep masks on. Like, you explain that to somebody,
Genius idea, by the way.
and then you get a chance to see it happen, and you're like, holy cow.
Yeah, it was something
This
to
is
behold.
special. This is incredible. So,
Yeah.
I am fully expecting. First off, SmackDown that's happening tonight. It's already been reported that all plans got thrown out the window, and it's probably going to be a big tribute show to Bray,
Yeah.
which is great. It's hard to catch up with all any of wrestling right now, and with all the pay-per-views about to happen, SmackDown's going to really more than likely be worth a watch. And
Yeah, catch SmackDown tonight if
We're
you
already
can.
excited about AEW's All In, as everybody should be, being
Yeah.
the biggest pro wrestling event of the year.
so
I
good.
cannot wait for the House of Black entrance.
Oh my
because
gosh, that is so
That is going to be an amazing entrance when they come out, yeah.
There's
sure.
no way, and they had nothing to do with Bray.
right.
There's no way you don't take advantage
Doesn't
of
matter.
that
Yep.
and use that as your tribute moment.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Mom got chills, and it hasn't even happened yet. Bray Wyatt,
That's right.
rest in peace.
Yeah,
Wyndham,
rest in peace, Bray.
Brian?
I would say it's going to be a bit of a controversial take, but
Okay. Johnson?
you know, totally, man. No, I gotta go with Mr. Straight Edge himself, man. CM Punk.
CM Punk. Boy, yeah, it is.
That guy did something, man, that no one had really ever done before.
I agree.
In the WWE,
Yeah.
when he laid that pipe bomb interview down, man, that just that was something to behold. And I remember watching that live. And you know, when you have a worker who blurs the lines between reality and their character, he does it so well. I have to give him that. Now I know he's had some, still has had some recent controversy in AEW, of course.
Have had.
You know, but outside of that, you know, when he had the straight, what was it, the straight
Edge
Society, yeah, SRS, which I think Luke Gallows was a part of that, right?
Yes, he
yeah.
was.
He was Festus and Serena Deeb.
Yeah, and you know, love him or hate him, he is a draw. And when that music hits, man, when Cult of Personality comes on, you know it's about to be a good time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I just was at AEW in Lexington last weekend for Collision, and it was so. I'll share this quick story. This guy comes out dressed in all gold. He was called something vampire.
Yep.
And he walks right by me. I said, "Who in the heck is this jobber?" Yeah, well, we found out who that was. That was CM Punk. But yeah, I got to give it to CM Punk, man. Like, love him or hate him, he is a draw, and he knows what he's doing when it comes to his persona and his character for sure.
Yeah, and I don't know if he has official input capacity on the Collision card right now, but either him or Bryan Danielson are making Collision must-watch television.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt, yeah.
So there's the controversy around CM Punk. We have many opinions on what he's done in the last 12 to 18 months. Mm-hmm. But you're right, he's a draw. And in the 2010s, he was the guy to watch because when he left a huge hole.
Yeah, I mean, how many people can you say that had that many people cheering for them in their absence while he was gone? For how many was it? 6 to 8 years, something like that.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
And you would go to any show for the most part, and everyone would be chanting his name. That's insane.
Yep.
Yep.
I agree. Isaac.
2010s was hard for me to find somebody, and I really wanted to say the Funkasaurus, but I'm not.
Okay.
Keeping with the
Okay.
trend of dumb gimmicks. But I'm going to go with somebody that was early 2000s into 2010s, and that's Brock Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar. Yes, sir.
And that guy
The
came
beast.
in as a beast,
Yeah.
and
Still a
showed that
beast.
he was just going to destroy everybody.
Yep.
And as a guy that kind of comes off like he doesn't care about the business or anything,
Yeah.
when you put him in a match with somebody and he needs to make them look good, he makes them look good.
He does.
He makes them look like $1 million
He does.
bucks.
You know, my memory of him, my one big memory of him, is when he completely destroyed the one-legged guy, Zach Gallen.
Gallen.
Remember when he tore him up, man? And it's like, dude, the guy's one-legged, man. He's like, I don't care.
Right,
And
yeah.
he F5'd him like 3 times.
Yeah.
He
But
pushed him down
into
a
the red
5 stairs,
post.
too, I think. Yeah.
But he's also, from what I understand, he is one of the best workers to work with because he plays so safe.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he's such a huge man.
He really
that
is a
it
big
just
guy.
looks monstrous when he's in that ring and doing stuff.
Well, and there was a viral clip that went out the last couple of weeks of John Cena being asked about the SummerSlam squash from Brock Lesnar.
Oh, yeah.
And I guess, for those who hadn't heard, that I guess the idea actually came from Stone Cold. Stone Cold and Brock were having dinner, and he pitched this idea because it happened right after Brock beat the Undertaker's streak.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the idea was that I'm going to go out there and just suplex you and keep suplexing you and then F5 you and beat you clean. And John's response to that was, absolutely, it's not my time, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only way we can sell the enormity of you beating the streak.
Yeah.
And
Is if you literally put your hands on everybody and smash.
Yeah.
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 And I think
down
he
John Cena with 16 German suplexes
Yeah.
and then beating him clean.
I mean, that's when Suplex City was erected.
Yep.
He destroyed that, man. And then that match with Cody Rhodes he just had, too, at SummerSlam.
Oh, my God.
Man, that was a really good
Every
storytelling match.
Every match that those guys have had together have been incredible.
Has been great,
Every
yeah.
one of them.
I think
even if it
Brock's-
didn't make any sense why they fought each other.
Yeah.
I think Brock is one of the only guys that I can think of that kind of filled that Andre the Giant role of special attraction.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking that exact same thing because remember last SummerSlam when he brought that tractor in, remember, and he
Oh, my God.
up the ring
The whole
on
ring.
Roman Reigns. That was pretty
good.
great too.
So good.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into our last decade here. This is going to be our now decade, 2020s. Who is one of your current best gimmicks? And we'll kind of keep this short because we're getting close on time. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with Brian. Brian, who is your 2020s gimmick wrestler?
Yeah.
Well, let me talk to you. I got to go with Mr. L.A. Knight.
Yeah.
This guy, I've been following his career since he was Eli Drake. He was in NWA, had a really famous Shoes of a Champion promo, which if you have not seen that, by the way, you need to watch that
it up.
promo. It's so good. This guy, I firmly believe, is going to be the future of this company.
Yeah.
He's 40 years old, but that doesn't mean anything.
He doesn't look it, and he doesn't move
doesn't.
like it. Like
No.
that dude moves in the ring.
He people have given him, a bunch of crap for, he steals. Dude, everybody steals from everybody, man. I mean, let's face it, dude.
I mean, even Booker T said in his interview, he's not stealing anything. That's just
No,
he's
that's just what he
inspired.
grew up in.
Like how
Right.
He's like
Ric
us,
Flair
man.
was not the first Nature Boy.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, you get inspired by characters, whether it's like other wrestlers, other people you've done things with, characters from a movie. I mean, video game. Thank you, Glacier. Things like that. Like, yeah.
Yeah, no, I really can't wait to see what they do with him and The Miz, like they're doing that right now with him and The Miz.
He's a good guy to work with, too. The Miz is so good on the mic.
I can honestly see, LA Knight maybe even winning the Royal Rumble next year.
That'd be cool.
That'd be kind of dope.
I'd like to see that.
If Cody doesn't win it.
Put that World Heavyweight title on him, I think would be great. The guy's the future, man. He knows how to cut a promo. He definitely has the crowd. He's super over. And the thing about him is, WWE tends to do this thing where they don't like to put over guys that the crowd has behind them. Like, you guys know Zack Ryder, of course, right? Is a big one. But I don't think this is going to happen with LA Knight, man.
I think he's doing good stuff. I think he's doing,
and he has been former Impact World Champion right there, man.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Isaac, who you got?
Man, I don't get to watch a lot of wrestling these days, so the gimmicks are few and far between for me. Rey Mysterio's sticking out of my head, but I'm not going to go with him. Let's talk about Luigi Primo. Is that the pizza man?
Who?
The guy.
Luigi Primo.
Who?
Oh, yeah, the pizza guy.
The pizza guy.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
Wait, what's he from?
What? He went viral a few months back. Probably been a year now.
Wait, I'm way out of the loop on this one.
He's an indie. He was an indie wrestler.
Yeah.
Okay.
He went viral because he's literally flipping pizza dough during the match.
No shot.
Oh, my gosh.
Good stuff. I think AEW ended up bringing him in for a short amount of time.
Really?
Yeah. I'm keeping the dumb gimmicks down on this end of the table.
No, I got it, dude.
We
I got it.
appreciate the dumb,
No,
the
you're
dumb
good.
gimmicks were appreciated.
You're
But
good.
yeah, I think that's amazing. The guy, all the occupational gimmicks were in late 80s, early 90s of WWF, and I feel like he resurrected that by being the pizza man.
Yeah. I love
That's
it.
amazing,
I
dude.
love it.
That's great. I'm going to look that up for
I
sure.
love
Yeah.
that. Joshy.
I'm going with 2, which actually might equal 4. Because it'll make sense in a moment. Number 1 is Orange Cassidy.
Okay.
Man,
Cassidy
absolutely.
Is so over right now and is probably if there is a definition of workhorse champion, and this
It's
is not
him,
to
man.
take anything away from Gunther, because the IC title run he's on is incredible.
Absolutely.
But I saw a graphic that was like 1,140 days, 329 title defenses, Roman Reigns. 308 days, 29 title defenses, Orange Cassidy. Like, his international title run makes that title go, you know what? I want that title. Like, it's...
Yeah.
And his hands
Absolutely.
in the pockets, soft kick.
Yeah, just
kip up
everything.
Stuff.
He tells the story right
Soft
there.
style.
He does
So
a great
good.
job of it, man. Yeah.
But the reason why I said 2 might equal 4 here is my other one is the House of Black.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
They're so good,
There's-
man.
Oh, 5. I'm sorry, Julia Hart.
Yeah, don't
Black
forget,
Heart.
yeah,
I
was
don't want to
saying.
take that away because I'm afraid she'd be the one to kill me, not
She
the other.
probably would. Yeah, you're right.
Jeez, the way they can utilize the lights and get into everyone's head, and I'm so looking forward to the House of Black versus the Acclaimed and
That's going to be such a
Billy
good match.
Gunn. Malachi Black, other than I think last week they were on Dynamite, pretty much has taken the approach of I want people to tune into Collision to see the House of Black, and they're so unique and so interesting, and I feel like the reasons why will come out when Don talks about his favorite gimmick right now.
Yeah. So
Oh, who's it?
I have a couple for the 2020s. I'll start with the lesser of the two, Danhausen.
Okay. I like Danhausen.
I love Danhausen. He is so
That's
funny.
hilarious.
He's so hilarious. But my major award winner is the best female wrestler, I'm willing to almost say, period. Rhea freaking Ripley.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Good
Let's go.
grief.
Absolutely.
She is so good.
Rhea Ripley is the stables mammy.
Yes, and my goodness,
So amazing.
gracious. And you know what? Congratulations to her.
Yeah.
Because she just got engaged.
Yeah, her and Buddy
Awesome.
Matthews.
Of the
Yeah.
House of Black.
Of the House of
Of
Black.
the House of Black. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely. I love so much about her
She's so
character.
great.
I'm surprised you didn't say Dominic Mysterio, to be honest.
I'd say I
Because
had-
Not my favorite.
I know, but that's such a good gimmick.
He's been to prison, you know.
He has. He has been to prison.
He is the con.
I mean, yeah, he
con.
don't mess with him, man.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I have an honorable one. I'm surprised nobody mentioned it. We got to talk about currently the greatest heel wrestler of the 2020s is MJF.
Maxwell
MJF.
Jacob.
We have got to talk about
He's not
Maxwell
a-
Jacob.
he's not a
Freeman.
heel.
He's not a heel currently,
At the
which is
moment,
weird.
Not a heel.
It's weird,
But he's not. But of the
but not yet.
2020s.
Yeah, I agree.
But you
Well,
got to talk about
I know.
MJF.
If you haven't
man.
checked out episode 23 with Deb and I, please do so.
But yeah, MJF hands
I'll agree
down.
with that.
So
I'll
great,
agree with that. MJF is fantastic.
super entertaining.
All right, so we're getting close on time. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. So if you are not familiar with the Stables format, at the end of every episode, we do a 3 count. What we do is we have 3 different little fun quips usually, and at the end of each one of those, we'll shout out 1, then we'll shout out 2, and then we'll shout out 3, and that'll close out our episode together. So on our episode 24, our favorite gimmicks discussion episode, here we go. Here's your 3 count. Gimmick wrestling for life.
One.
It's easy to be the best when you find your smile.
2.
Yeah. I hope you
That
like
was
that.
good.
All right. And then for our last, thank you, Wyndham and Terry.
Yeah.
You are forever loved, and you'll be forever missed. 3. We thank you guys so much for joining us on episode
Thank you, guys.
24 of The Stable, and we will check you later.
Bye.
Thank you guys.
Deuces.
Have a good con.
Hello, stable folks. This is Dr. Deb, and I am not at PopCon. Welcome to my drive to work. Joshi and Dawn are at PopCon Indy today, and I'm sure having a splendid time, but I am not able to join them. I am working, and then I'm going to be watching the kiddos tonight. So I'm not able to join them on the official Stable podcast. So this is the Dr. Deb Digressions variant of the Stable podcast. So with the recent tragic passing of Wyndham Rotunda, aka Bray Wyatt, they were talking about some of their favorite gimmicks. That's what I've heard. So they wanted me to put in my 2 cents about some of my favorite gimmicks in professional wrestling. And one is not hard to imagine at all. Anyone who knows that my favorite wrestler is The Undertaker would know that my favorite gimmick is The Undertaker gimmick. I loved the druids, I loved the coffin, I loved the music, I loved the lighting, like that whole persona, the duster, the hat. I loved the whole persona that he carried in. Now, that's one of the things that I miss, because there are not very many entrances that just created that much ambiance and that much, just the whole atmosphere of the arena would change when he would do his entrance, and it was just beautiful. I also loved the Wyatt family, Bray Wyatt entrance with the fireflies. I thought it was just so beautiful. It just looked like a night sky with everybody holding up their phones and, becoming his fireflies. So I thought that was just a beautiful gimmick, if I can say that. It's funny to call a gimmick beautiful, but it really is. Some other gimmicks that I enjoyed, I have to say, I did like the Glorious gimmick. I think that was Bobby Roode, but I can get corrected by Josh and Don later. But the Glorious, because that just like the blinding white light and that music hitting, it was almost just, I don't know, it just kind of took your breath away with just how big and just in your face in that moment it was. And you just kind of wanted to be like, okay, I'm nearly blind and the music has blasted me and I'm awake. Whatever's happening next, I'm awake and I'm ready for it. I'm trying to think what other gimmicks that I really liked. Those are probably my top 3. I'll have to think through some of the other ones. I haven't had a lot of time to think on this. Josh asked me if I would record this about 30 minutes ago. So fortunately I found my lav mic, so that's a good thing. Otherwise, I just want to step back and say I express my deepest and most sincere condolences to the family of Wyndham Rotunda. I can't even imagine, I can't imagine what they're going through. He was such a creative mind, and I know that's been said by so many people, but I was always fascinated to see what he would come up with next, because he brought an artistry, he brought an aspect of storytelling, he brought the creativity that he brought, multiple layers of it. Like, he would always be able to build on what he did before, and the reinventing of himself from the Husky Harris into the Wyatt family. And then he comes back and he does the Firefly Funhouse, and then we've got the Fiend, that constant reinventing. Chris Jericho is known for it, and I really think that Mr. Rotunda should be known for that, a phenomenal ability to tap into something new and go down a new path that he had never gone down before, and spark the curiosity and the fascination of everyone watching. We didn't know where we were going, right? Most of the time we had no idea where he was going to take us, but it was fascinating to see and to just kind of wander that weird, twisted, creative path that he had. He will be missed, and my sympathies to Eric Redbeard. I can't imagine what he's going through, having lost Brody really not that long ago, and now Wyndham's gone as well. I can't fathom what that must be like for him. So yeah, my thoughts, my prayers, my deepest condolences to everyone involved in that. So the power of a gimmick. The word gimmick just makes it sound like it's something light and small and easy and quick, whatever. And yet we wrestling fans know that a gimmick could absolutely make or break you. A gimmick can make you world famous. A gimmick can make people come to the edge of their seats and make them show up to a show because they want to see that gimmick so bad. So the careful thought and the careful building of it, and the respect for the gimmick you have, such as what Undertaker had for his, and building on it, changing it, morphing it every once in a while, but respecting it and understanding how much the fans can grasp onto it, and how exciting, how important, and how personal a gimmick can be for a fan is really important to remember. So once again, it's been sort of a rambling, right? This is what tends to happen when I do these videos and I'm driving and words come. But at any rate, I hope you guys have a fantastic day. I hope PopCon is going splendidly for my other two, I'd say partners in crime, but we're not doing anything wrong. So partners in Goofy Wrestling for Life on the stable. So I hope you guys have a splendid one, and I will talk to you later. Probably not from my car, but you never know. Bye.